Welcome to a lyric writing workshop. I'm Chad Shank with At Home Songwriting. This is the place where you can learn about songwriting techniques, how to write the best songs that you can, and just other songwriting stuff. So let's jump into some lyrics. Let's go. So here's my 10-second lyric tip. Next time you're watching a movie or maybe it's a TV show, watch it with the closed captioning on. Because when you watch with the closed captioning on, hearing the dialogue and reading it can really speak different lyric and song ideas to you. So try it the next time you're on Netflix or Hulu or whatever you're watching. This has really been a cool way to see dialogue in a different way. So what are you going to write about? That is the age-old question that every single one of us asks us every single time we sit down. And it especially becomes big when you sit down in a co-write. I don't know about you, but every time I have someone to collaborate with, it's like, okay, cool, we're going to do this, but what are we going to write about? Well, Jason Isbell says he does not believe in writer's block. Somebody asked him, what do you think you do to work through writer's block? And he says, I don't believe in it. My job is to write, not to like what I'm writing. That's why we edit, and nobody gets editor's block. And I just thought that was so interesting to say it in that way, because I do think a lot of times we get so caught up on the writing aspect that we really need something in place before we can even start critiquing or editing. So think about Jason next time you feel a little bit stuck. And in her book, Shortcuts to Hit Songwriting, Robin Frederick said that writers can be self-involved or other-centered. And instead of asking, what do I want to say, change it to what do I want to tell you? This is a subtle mindset change that I think could really have an impact on your writing. So as you start to songwrite, you can think about, what do I want to tell you as the listener? Think about it as speaking to someone or having a conversation or telling a story to someone. What do I want to tell you? So talking about song topics, songs really communicate three things. They communicate ideas, emotions, and stories. And lyrics are parts of the songs that speak to our logical brains. And the other parts of the songs, like music and the structure and the craft, speak through other ways than words. So the structure of your lyrics, along with the content, can deliver the emotional, wordless messages. So it's the body language of your song. When the content and the structure match and deliver your desired message or emotion, that is called prosody. So that's nice. What am I going to write about? Well, again, we said stories, ideas, and emotions. So when you want to write lyrics, you have to start with one of those three things. And the first step is to think of these items as a starting point. So do you have a story? Do you have an idea? Or do you have an emotion that you want to write about? And you can use them as either a jump off point and use that to develop into a full song. And many times these three things will help you develop a theme, and themes lead to stories that lead to the plot. So plot versus theme, it's a little bit different. So looking at this, I found it from pedia.com. It's plot versus theme. It says the plot is a series of events and happenings that make up the story, and the theme is the central message conveyed through a piece of writing. In a song, it's the plot is what's happening, and the theme is sort of the lesson or the emotion that's underneath of that plot. The plot consists of events, and the theme consists of a message. Looking at this in a different way, this is from Reedsy. The plot of the events is the tip of the iceberg. So everything starts below, which is the theme, and it drives both the plot and the story from beneath the surface. So again, that's kind of your lesson or your emotion or your idea. The story is kind of the external character conflicts, and then the plot is the event that happens. So an interesting visual here to think about when you're writing your songs. So I know Jason Isbell says he doesn't believe in writer's block, but you may not agree with that, and you may feel like you have it. So what you could do is select an emotion and use a random noun generator and use the emotion as your theme and write a plot around the noun. Your theme is the emotion. The plot is about what's happening in it. So an example of how you can do this and do an exercise to write about an emotion and an item is use this example. Find a list of emotions. Here's a bunch of them here. This is just something that I Googled, so you could Google lists of emotions as well. And you could pick one of these. So let's say I'm looking at this and I say, I want to use crushed. So crushed is my emotion. The next step, once you have the emotion, is to free write for 5 minutes about a plot using the random noun sidewalk. So that's your noun. So my example here is crushed sidewalk. So maybe in the comments, write something for us and show us kind of how you would approach that idea. So to kind of wrap up this section, using an emotion and a noun as a starting point can help you create the basis for a theme. And themes are the foundation of the message of the song and that the song is communicating. And the story helps to bring the theme into your listener's mind. And making an outline of your theme and idea can help you stay on track as you write the song. And every section should help communicate and emote that theme. Part 2, lyrics have 2 types. There are 2 types of lyrics. The 2 types of lyrics are external or concrete, which are sense-based image words, picture words, and what we would consider the showing language. The second type of lyric line is internal, abstract, it's emotion-based, it's feelings, thoughts, ideas, and it's happening inside of the characters, and it would be more considered telling within the showing and telling realm. So those are your 2 types of lyrics. And many songs are going to use a mix of both, and genre can have an impact on how this mix leans. So country and more singer-songwriter genres tend to lean more to the external, concrete image lyric types. Pop, R&B, dance music, and genres that are a little bit more rhythmic focused or musically focused tend to lean more into emotions with abstract feelings and idea lyrics. And we've talked about this in other videos as well, but write 1 or 2 lines of concrete details, and then next write 1 or 2 lines of emotional or feeling lines that relate to the first 2 lines. And then you can edit and move those lines around to see what packs the most emotional punch and what makes the most sense. So go try it. So let's look at some examples here about moving lines around. So this is a song by Taylor Swift called Red. And I'll just read through it so you can hear what it sounds like in its current form. So it says, loving him is like driving a new Maserati down a dead-end street, faster than the wind, passionate as sin, ending so suddenly. Loving him is like trying to change your mind. Once you're already flying through the free fall, like the colors in autumn, so bright just before they lose it all. But now let's flip it around. What if she didn't put them in that order? What if she did, loving him is like trying to change your mind. Loving him is like driving a new Maserati down a dead-end street, faster than the wind, passionate as sin, ending so suddenly. Like the colors of autumn so bright just before they lose it all, once you're already flying through the free fall. Just the order made it have less emotional impact. And if you'll notice, what I did was I put some of the emotional lines first in this example, and then the concrete details. The original has the concrete details followed by the emotional details. And that's a much better way in most cases to write because it sets up the scene and the context of why the emotions matter. So let's also look at a song by Bob Dylan and do the same thing. So this goes, how many roads must a man walk down before you call him a man? How many seas must a white dove sail before she sleeps in the sand? Yes, and how many times must the cannonballs fly before they're forever banned? Now let's flip it around and put the emotional stuff first. Before you call him a man, how many roads must a man walk down? Before she sleeps in the sand, how many seas must a white dove sail? Before they're forever banned, how many times must the cannonballs fly? It sounds goofy. And maybe it's because we know the songs, but also it's because the emotion is coming before the detail. In a movie, we have to see where we're zooming in from before we zoom in, before it makes sense, right? If we were just zoomed in sometimes, we wouldn't get the context of where we are. And that's why movies start with a faraway shot and then they zoom into where the action is happening, because we need to set the context of the song and the movie. So think about it as you're writing songs is give us the concrete detail and then zoom in and give us what's happening emotionally. There are some lyric tendencies within songs. Verses tend to have more images and concrete language, and choruses tend to have more emotional or big idea and feeling language. So a lot of times you're going to be setting up a lot of the concrete details in the first verse. So then the chorus can really tell us about more of the emotion. Next time you're writing a song, try pretending that you're being interviewed by your listener about the theme or topic that you are writing about. And what I mean by that is use some of the W words and the H words. So it's the who, what, where, when, why, and how. This can be very helpful in changing how you think about what information to put into your lyric. If you're thinking about the listener, if you're writing a song about, falling in love, you could tell your interviewer that. You could say, well, my song's about falling in love. And the interviewer may say, well, who's falling in love? Where are they falling in love? Why are they falling in love? How did they fall in love? How did they meet? All of those questions. So think about that as you're putting together ideas for your next song. So there are some lyric writing tools and techniques and tricks for you. Hopefully this is helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments or if you have any topics that you'd like to see here at Home Songwriting. Again, the whole goal is to help you find out some different techniques, some tips and tricks, how to write better songs, and just learn about songwriting stuff. So if you like what you see, hit subscribe. I truly appreciate it. My name's Chad Shank. Make sure you join us live each month for our online songwriting workshops by Zoom. The link is in the description, and I will see you next time.